Welcome to the source. The source. Source. Hey, get the source.
You always want to have that guy there. So I have like $1,200 on David Hamilton to get a hit today. So
wow.
I don't know what else I'm going to do. It's still up on Prize Picks if you guys ever play over there, or if you guys have access to it through somebody. Because I'm just staring at it. I don't understand why it's still available.
I play Prize Picks all the time.
We are officially live right now.
So I don't give them out, but yeah, I play them all the time.
They caught the tail end of that. So Lindy, in case you didn't hear the beginning of his sentence, he has a lot of action on David Hamilton to record a hit for Boston.
I mean, I almost don't want to talk about anything else today other than that. It felt like a Sharp Kid happy thing to have happen. So I can't wait for him to get hit by a pitch on the first at bat and not come back out. Not even get like
draw walk and then get subbed out.
Oh, buddy. So yeah, so I have money on his walk. I have 2+ hits at plus 320. I'm just like, I'm so David Hamilton. Like, that's the only thing that matters for me now today. It's the only thing. He's leading off for the people who don't know. You have Darren Duran who says, naughty things. So there we go.
Yeah, he got suspended 2 games. So Hamilton to record a hit is a lot of action on it. As far as the weekend, hope everyone enjoyed their Sunday, by the way. I didn't originally plan on canceling the show. Toast flight got changed. And then Sunday, I'm here by myself in the office. So I would have had to do the whole thing and break down every MLB game by myself, which I was not prepared to do. Plus, for being fully transparent, I was a little on the hungover side. So as far as the bets yesterday, I put out two totals. I went 1-1. Unfortunately, my bigger bet lost, so I did lose a few dollars. The freaking Oakland decides to score 6 runs in the first inning. That was lovely. I had the under. So yeah, let's go ahead and get back on track. Well, I had 1-1, so let's not need to get back on track. But we're on Monday. Let's start the week out properly. I do have 3 bets open, and I got positive closing line value on all 3. So hopefully that translates into some W's. Yeah, let's get it started. Monday, Major League Baseball. We're also doing 4 college football teams and the Denver Broncos after, if you want to stick around for some football breakdowns. So we're starting off with Cubs Guardians in Cleveland, and I got the Cubs at -115, and it's not necessarily that, I'm playing Shota Imanaga. Like, it's not that I necessarily love the matchup for Shota in Cleveland. I mean, the Guardians over the course of the season, best home team in baseball. So I'm not thrilled with the idea of backing them, but they just got done with a crazy series in Minnesota. There was a doubleheader thrown in there. The bullpen is wrecked. And I mean, Clase has gone back-to-back days. He threw like 24 pitches yesterday. Hold on, I have it open right here. Gaddis has thrown back-to-back days. He threw 17 pitches last night. Kate Smith has thrown 3 consecutive days. He won't be available. So the Cleveland bullpen, although they are deep, I mean, you're still going to have Scott Barlow available. Sandlin has thrown 2 of the last 3. He'll probably be available. So it's not that the Cleveland bullpen has no arms. They are a deep unit. But no question, they're definitely hindered coming off a crazy series. Meanwhile, Cubs fly in with their ace on the mound. Just seems like a great spot to play the Cubs. So, yeah, I am on Chicago coming off the day off. Rest advantage, bullpen advantage, starting and pitching advantage, -115.
I'm with
Lindy,
you.
go ahead.
Cubs were a play for me. I'm not going to add a whole lot to what you had there. Emmanuel Clase is one of those dudes who matters more than most people because he's the best reliever in baseball, bar none. He tried to choke against my Twins. Would have been really nice if he had choked against my Twins, but back-to-back games for him, back-to-back for this bullpen. It is such a drastically different situation getting Imanaga going up there, and then knowing that Cleveland's got to throw some garbage against the wall to try to make it stick if this game is close in the 7th, 8th, 9th. So I do want to plan the full game. I'm on the Cubs with you.
All right, Cubs.
I'm on Cleveland. Cleveland money line for me. Yeah, I can understand the Cleveland bullpen situation, but we all know that they'll use Clase on back to our 3 days rest, our 3 straight days, especially after 33 pitches over the last 5 days. I would fully assume that Clase is available. for me. And then we're getting a Cleveland team that I'll give you that hasn't looked good. 3-7 their last 10, but they've played a division leading Minnesota or close to division leading Minnesota, Arizona team that's absolutely red hot right now, a Baltimore team that's red hot right now, are a very good baseball team. At least they're not red hot. And then Ben Lively on the other hand, look at who he's faced: Arizona, Baltimore, Philadelphia, the Padres. I mean, facing this Cubs team that I understand has played much better against St. Louis and the White Sox, and they had a really good series against Minnesota. I guess this has kind of proved it to me. I felt this number was kind of short. I made this game closer to a pick'em. I just don't understand. I just don't understand it. So let's for me, this is kind of the Cubs kind of prove it to me. Show me that you're a good team. Show me that you can beat this Cleveland team that I feel like Cleveland's in a really good spot back at home in a really big step down in competition. So at plus money, it's still around there. Yeah, I'm more than comfortable with Cleveland.
You kind of jerked off my Quince at the end of that, so I'm okay with it.
Toast starting the week off with an L, not what you want to do.
Tough
What's
scenes,
our poll? Where's our
scenes.
poll at? What's our poll?
48% Cleveland, 44% Cubs, so slightly leaning Cleveland.
What are the other 8% of people doing with their lives?
Over.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Yeah, there's over under in the poll as well. So there's 4% over 3%. No, 4% under 3% over. All right. Next up is Cardinals, Reds. Interesting one here. Kind of wanted to back the Cardinals, but I don't trust Sonny Gray on the road. I don't like how the Reds are just returning home from the road trip. Although if it wasn't for them returning home for the road trip, I think they would hit up Sonny Gray here. Also, Abbott, not really sure what to make of him anymore. He was so consistent for so long. I mean, you could just pencil him in for 5 2/3, 2 earned runs like every single time he went out there. We're seeing a lot more variance now, so I really don't know what to think of Abbott anymore. I wanted to bet the Cardinals, but I didn't. So it's just a straight pass for me. I feel like this game could go 50 different ways.
Go ahead, Lindy. It's going to be it's Reds or pass for me. I'm sorry, over or pass for me.
Over or pass?
Yeah.
What did I
just
have
because
on this?
Andrew
I'm still
Abbott
trying to get more money down on everything I can on this. I had TJ Friedel to hit a home run. He's like plus 750. I haven't bet it yet, but let me see the number I expected to kind of trail up a little bit. It's always one of those things you want to know the rules of your sports books and know where you're getting your action down, if it's going to be live on if they're in the lineup or not. And they have enough young guys. I totally expected him to be in this lineup. I totally expect him to be out there, but it's one of those things where you kind of just want to have it be confirmed. He's batting cleanup now today. So there's no question about it. Plus 750. He doesn't hit it hard. He's been pretty bad in terms of that metric, but he has the loft on it. It's ever so slightly out to the right pole today. And everything about that looks all right. And Sonny Gray, I know that he's somebody you've generally liked attacking a little bit and looked into some of his power metrics against some of these softer guys. And 162 expected ISO isn't crazy. 197 ISO against for lefties on the season. But the launch sitting around 9-10 degrees, you get somebody who can at least just pop it up in the air out in Cincinnati at that long of a number batting cleanup. I got to take a shot.
TJ Friedel home run plus 750. All right.
That's
taking
what it
a
was
big
earlier.
swing
Let me
here.
double check what it is here because I need to. Just another thing that I need a panic getting money down on. Here we go. Did that move at all today here? Don't mind me. Just getting back from vacation. Plus 830 on FanDuel, best available. That is
Plus
so nice. Oh my God. Yeah,
If
nothing
it
like
wasn't
calling a plus
for-
830 out there for the people.
If it wasn't for the Reds that were just in, they were Miami, then Milwaukee, no days off. If it wasn't for that, I would be down for the Reds here, but I don't like the spot, so it's a pass.
Get it.
Next up, speaking of weird spots, is the chat working on the screen, by the way, today, Prop Beaver? What's up? It just died, so it's not working anymore? Damn it. All right. So I'll give you another link to try. But first, I want to see what Toast thinks about this game right here. I'm not going to say what I think. I want to see what Toast thinks first.
I bet the Astros on the money line.
Good pick. That's where I want to go too, man.
So, I think, I think Framber's back. I knew he had that little hiccup against the Pirates. Still had 10 strikeouts in that game. I don't know. It is what it is. Sometimes those games in Houston just tend to get runs on you. But anyway, he's been really good over his last 6 starts. And that 7 start on the road against the Mets wasn't, terrible. It was only 4 2/3. But at the time, the Mets were pretty damn hot. But I just feel like this Houston team is in a much better situation. They're 7-3 right now. Their last 10, they're playing very good. They're coming off a 2 series against Texas and Baltimore. I trust them on the road. They're above 500 on the road. Not to mention the fact that Houston has all their bullpen arms rested and ready to go. And Tampa Bay, if you take a look at their bullpen, it's the exact opposite. Fairbanks has went 3 of the last 4. Manuel Rodriguez, who's been really, really good for them, has went 3 of the last 4. That Uketa guy, or however you say his last name, went 2 of the last 3. So the top 3 arms and his top 3 arms in the Rays bullpen are not ready to go. So I felt like this number was a little bit short. So that kind of weirded me out, but I guess Taj Bradley has been really good. Started to fall off his last couple starts. I don't really think that that's what we're going to continue to see from him. I don't think he's that bad. I also don't think he's that good where he's going to continue to go zeros every time he goes out. But Astros saw him twice last year, got to him pretty easily last year. I just felt like this number was way too short with Houston.
Yeah, I'm leaning the exact same way. This isn't one of the 3 bets I have down. And the reason is I hate how the Astros are flying all over the freaking country here.
And really, and one other thing I wanted to add there, the reason that I'm okay with betting this is because I bet Baltimore a couple of times over the weekend, and I thought those numbers were kind of sketchy, and it was a pretty easy wins on both of the times I bet Baltimore. So I just feel like this Rays team might be in a little bit of a tailspin.
Yeah, so I wanted to go to the Astros too. Didn't actually bet it for the same. What you said, if the Rays have a lead, who's pitching in the second half of the game? That bullpen is taxed, and the Houston Astros have their main arms. Not obsessed with the idea of the Astros getting to Taj Bradley at home at the Trop. In fact, I actually think that's a struggle. And then you add on the fact that, like I said, the Astros were in Arlington, then they were up in Fenway. Now they're down at the Trop. They've been flying all over the place. So just don't like the spot enough to do it. But it would only be Astros here with the Rays. If you like the Rays, maybe like a Rays first 5, because I think on paper Taj Bradley should pitch pretty well.
The first 5, if I remember, I can't remember. I think it's hella crazy. It's a way different. I think the Astros in the first 5 are minus 150 or minus 160, something like that. It's a huge difference. Okay, it's went down a little bit. It's minus 145 in the first 5, but yeah, it's a huge difference in price.
Yeah, Lindy, do you agree?
Yes, I do. I leaned that direction last night. I now got the vote of confidence from 2 of us. So let's just make it the ESPN panel across the board. So when the Rays win 10-0, we can have that one photoed all over for the internet to see and move on with our lives. But I want to point out a couple of things for Framber Valdez just to be paying attention to going forward. I think just for data whores like me, or people who love spreadsheets and love analysis of expected numbers relative to actual numbers, ground ball pitchers are always very difficult for us to basically take batted ball data and to be able to break it down correctly. You've seen throughout his entire career expected numbers next to Framber Valdez look worse than what his actual ERA is. And it just comes down to how hard hit is graded and how it comes down to being off of the barrel. And I think earlier this season with the strikeout stuff having dipped, it was very hard to figure out how do we really back him if the curveball, which has always been his main entity for swing and miss, how are we going to be able to grade that and be able to move on with our lives? Because you go through the data for the last couple of years, 2020, 3.82 expected, 3.57 actual. So again, the actual every single season since 2020 has outperformed the expected numbers by a pretty drastic margin. And so, what was that?
You're good.
Oh, okay.
I lost connection for a second. I'm back.
Oh, okay. And it just came down to for me looking at Framber Valdez and seeing how we progressed with the whiff percentage and the curveball and the changeup as the season progressed. And now the slider, it's not something that he throws a lot. It's basically something to lefties that he'll throw in occasionally, but specifically that changeup, he's throwing that a lot to righties here. 35.9% whiff percentage. That is way up from last season's 31.1%. I think we're going to start seeing some swing and miss from him as well. I really like backing Framber Valdez in spots where the price makes sense. I think it really makes sense today now, especially as we break down that Tampa Bay bullpen for, whatever his name is. A lot of these different pieces.
Do you know how to pronounce it?
Yeah, let me pull it back up here because I've got him here. Ukeda? Edwin Ukeda?
I wasn't that far off.
Yeah, you got it. Useta. That would be cool too, but I think it's Ukeda. But either way, I am with you where you're going to see coming off of a 8 2/3 gem that he spins, you're going to see some inflated numbers on those first 5. Just take the money line. I'm totally with you guys there too. That's sharp analysis.
Yeah, I ended up passing, but it would only be Astros here.
In the meantime, you want to keep it moving, I guess, or do we want to just we can chills?
What do you mean?
Yeah,
No, he's back. He was good.
You don't see me?
Oh, okay.
Do you not see anybody besides me?
I do not see anybody. Let me refresh.
Yeah, refresh.
I was like, wait.
I was like, what do you mean we're gonna?
I thought there was a joke coming or something. That's why I was letting him run with it.
Like we're gonna chill? I mean, I figured we'd just do the next game. There we
I
go.
get it though. It can be confusing.
Yeah, OBS Ninja's a nightmare. All right, so Rangers, Red Sox, and when I say I have no idea, are the Red Sox not hitting righties anymore? I mean, Arrighetti didn't touch him, didn't get to Hunter Brown. I mean, is the reign of terror of the Red Sox lineup against right-handed bats, is that over? What do you guys think?
I have no idea. I said under or pass in this one. I have no idea what to think. I kind of want to bet Texas after a couple, the second game of that doubleheader on Saturday, and then another game on Yankee Stadium on Sunday. Their bats are starting to come alive, possibly. And Bello hasn't really been great, and he doesn't go deep into games. He's also been throttled by Texas in his career. Yeah, it's just a pure pass for me. I have no idea what to do with this one.
Lindy?
I like the over. I think the over sticks out for me pretty considerably. Let me see kind of the line movement on it here as well. Apparently, I just like to be here, so that's good to know. But so does your mom at my place, and I feel nice about that. I really do think Masataka Yoshida has been playing a lot better ball and been a decent enough option through and through. Yeah, well, toast. You got to be able to serve it too. Come on now. But I love the over
mad
here
at it.
I'm just looking at the wind blowing out here to right field. I think Texas. I mean, this is the main question: is Texas against a righty? Can Texas against righty? It's not even the reign of terror. Can I get enough out of the Texas bats? Because son of a bitch, they piss me off.
Tell me about it.
Mm-hmm. Preach. All right.
Yep.
Doesn't sound like anyone's really loved this one, so let's move on to the next one.
Didn't it open at 10? Or am I just way off?
Yeah, it was at 10. I got it.
You can get
9
it's at
and a half.
9s now. You can get 9s
meandering
now.
around 9 now, which I don't understand. But I had it at even money, 9.5. I'm okay with that.
Next up is KC, Minnesota. And look, I think all signs point to the fact that Minnesota should win this baseball game. Brady Singer on the road can't really be trusted as much, even though he doesn't have the worst history against Minnesota. But still, I think the Twins win this game. But unfortunately, at this price, I feel like the only way I could actually bet it would be Royals. I mean, plus 136 is crazy. So I'm not going to bet it because I do think the Twins win this game. But no way would I be laying that kind of number with them. I mean, I was hesitant. Last night, I was like, maybe if I can grab the Twins. This is what I thought when I looked at the game. I was like, if I can grab the Twins at like minus 132, I'll take it. And I looked, it was minus 152. And I was like, oh, no way. Now it's minus 163, minus 165. So it's way out of the price range. In fact, I think it's swung so far that the value is actually on Kansas City side now. But there's no way I'm betting it because I'm not going to place a bet that I don't think is going to win. And I think the Twins win this game. I just think the price is crazy.
Go ahead, Lindy. I'm on the Royals. But
oh, shit. Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Twins have to prove it to me, especially Pablo Lopez at home. Again, not a guy that I trust at all. Over his last 7 starts, only 2 of them have been at home. One really good start against Milwaukee, one really, really bad start against Houston. But we've seen this over the course of the year with Pablo Lopez not being able to trust him at home. On the road, he's almost been lights out besides that last start against the Cubs, but we will let that one go. And you're right. I don't really love Brady Singer on the road either, but I like the fact that we have a rested bullpen behind him with nobody working yesterday. And on the Minnesota bullpen side, Duran and Jack's good to go, but Alcara, Sands, Thibar have all worked 2 of the last 3 days. So maybe if Kansas City can possibly get to Lopez just a little bit, maybe we have a little bit of an advantage here in the back half of this game. But I just don't feel like Minnesota should be this big of a favorite. So this is a classic Toast play on the number type of game for me. This is just a pure play on the number for me.
I mean, I completely agree with every word you say. You can put Royals up for me too, because that is the way I would go. I'm not going to play it because I do think the Twins win, but at plus 138, there's no way. It would only be Royals for me.
I totally understand your reasoning there too. If I had to make a play on it, I would go to Kansas City, but Matt Wallner to homer, again, it's just a obvious slam dunk. Plus 440. I mean, this is just an absurd number over on FanDuel right now. Plus 440. I know we have the Friedel one plus 830. I like this one obviously exponentially better. So if you're looking for a quote unquote shorter number on a home run play, I don't think people realize how insane Matt Wallner's power numbers are. 64.6% hard hit, 48 batted ball events. His main thing is he got sent down to AAA because he struck out a fuck ton of times and just never really found the ball in play. Couldn't get ball on bat to start off the season. And, you know, people want to talk about the mystification of home run plays and hard hit. No, we got to take his total bases. Not necessarily. And I think that's a huge misconception. It really comes down to range of outcomes. And sometimes you'll get really short numbers on a total basis play. You'll get really long numbers on a home run play. When you're shopping for your best odds, it's called Odd Shopper after all. You have an opportunity to really get into a market and smash. 64.6 hard hit, but the key here, Matt Wallner, and then the Brady Singer split. So Matt Wallner, 22.7 degree launch angle here on the season. And we have such a small sample size that I'm not even going recently because in the last 30 days, I can guarantee you his power metrics are through the roof relative to what they were at the beginning of the season. And Brady Singer, a 228 expected ISO, his launch a little bit lower, but it's just square peg, square hole. Matt Wallner, probably my favorite home run play at this kind of a price that we've had in a really long time.
All right. Well, Royals panel.
Doesn't Matt Wallner have like a 350 ISO this year or something crazy?
It is out of control. Against righties, a 320 expected ISO, a 370 actual ISO versus right-handed pitching.
I was going to say, I knew that because, yeah.
He is scary. Scary boy.
Let's cruise on over to the next one, Prop Beaver, and hear me out. All right, hear me out. So I understand that I understand that the White Sox have lost a lot of games. I understand.
A lot of games. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
We got the Yankees as a minus 350 road favorite with no bullpen. What's going on, guys? Who's pitching? What's going on? No bullpen.
I'm on the White Sox. I played their team total over 2.5. So I didn't play them on the side, but I played their team total over 2.5.
Lindy, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I just looked at this game and I just did this. I don't care. I don't care. What are we supposed to do with this? Like, what do we do with this? This is obviously absurd. This is sometimes over the course of an MLB season, I'll look at a game and I don't have to do anything. I don't want to update anything. I know the numbers are already garbage. I already know that there's going to be so much trash to be betting on that is negative EV across the board. And this game just screams it across it. Like, unless you want to try to make something happen with the White Sox, I don't think you should be doing anything here. But like, it's the White Sox. You should be ready for maximum pain.
I haven't bet the White Sox. That being said, plus 275, man. Isn't Kai Busch? Apparently, his family's flying in for the game too.
Oh my God, we're gonna do family flying in narratives. I'm unbelievably for it.
The Yankees are a minus 350 favorite on the road with no bullpen. Like, I don't know if I would take the Yankees at minus 350 on the road against the Portland Sea Dogs with no bullpen.
I think the only time I've ever had like true narrative-based betting was Dorian Finney-Smith when his dad got out of jail and I jammed his points prop. That worked well. So I'm here for flying in family friends and family narrative to the ballpark for a game betting analysis. I'm so here for it.
What is the Yankees? People are saying Yankees team total in the comments. What is the Yankees team total? I'm going to pull it up.
Is it 5.5?
It's probably going to be
the total's at 9.
It's got to be 5.5.
It's 5.5 juiced all the way up.
Yeah.
5.5 juice to the over. Have the Yankees been scoring 6 runs a game on the road?
Well, they haven't played a road game in 2 weeks. So
honestly, I think the under on that is the play.
The last time they were on the road, it was Philadelphia and fucking who else?
All right. This is what I'll do. I'm not betting.
That's what it was. They put a whole bunch of runs. That was their big run streak, though. So that Boston Philly series, they were scoring 7-8 runs a night. But their previous road trip to that, they didn't score over 6 runs once.
I have an idea.
Keep going back. Ooh,
no. We wait. The Yankees take a 3-0 lead.
Yes.
We take White Sox plus 5.5 live. And the Yankees have no bullpen. All in favor?
Sure, I'm down.
Let's
As long
go.
as the White Sox are scoring runs, that's all I care. Because I did bet White Sox team total over 2.5 minus 135 last night on DK.
The Yankees have no bullpen tonight. They're missing their main 3 arms. We're going to take the White Sox live plus 6.5 live. 6.5.
Main 3 arms are gone for the Yankees. Not to mention the fact we got great weather in Chicago right now. The total's up at 9. We expect some runs tonight. It's not that crazy that the White Sox score 3. I did bet that.
Luis Heel, hopefully this is just the day where he forgets that the strike zone exists. Those are always the fun Luis Heel days.
Those are good days. All right, next game.
Oh, he's only had 8 walks in his last 10 innings. I mean,
I know he's been that's
awesome.
Improvement. Here we
awesome.
are.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's awesome.
God.
Dodgers,
Brutal.
Brewers. Freddie Peralta pitching against the Dodgers again. The last one was in Dodger Stadium. This to me is the ultimate coin flip. I don't even have. I looked at this game and I actually opened up the numbers. And I was like, dude, I have no lean here. So this is a straight pass across the board for me.
I played Dodgers team total over 3.5 personally. That's what I played. Just can't pass up the fact that I get to fade my boy Freddie Peralta with the Dodgers getting Mookie back, and their lineup is actually starting to hit over the last 5 or 6 games. Dodgers team total over 3.5. Me fading Freddie Peralta as I always do usually works out pretty damn good.
I'm going to tell you on that. I've been looking for something here, and again, this is just unexplainable. Freddie Peralta, whenever Freddie Peralta gets in some of these spots, Atlanta back-to-back there, he's given up now 9 in his last 3 starts. We're finding ways for teams to get after fastball Freddie, and just hasn't been as clean this season across the board with some of his metrics. I feel pretty confident in saying that, although he's still great, a 9.5% percentage, a 9% walk rate, you give up barrels and you walk guys. There's ways that if teams have power on base that they just have massive range outcomes. And the Dodgers are the epitome of that with Betts back. You're going to go Ohtani, Betts, Freeman, Hernandez, Will Smith. Gavin Lux in the 6 hole has been smashing the baseball lately. He is, over the course of the last 2 weeks, this is a dude that I really want people paying attention to. What is his home run number just insane plus 900-ish? I think I saw that earlier. Let me see, because this is just another guy that I expect really good things going forward. We're talking about AAA player of the year, never really got his footing, tore his ACL last season, had to sit out the whole year. He's plus 900 on FanDuel. Fuck it. Another home run play that I'm going to be behind here. Give me Gavin Lux.
Yeah, and Gavin Lux not only hitting the ball hard, it's paying off in games too. Yeah, he's been one of their better hitters by far. So there's no question.
What's the Dodgers bullpen situation like here?
It's nothing crazy.
They are missing
bad,
a couple arms.
But here's the question though: is Evan Phillips? Do you care if Evan Phillips? Because Evan Phillips has been really bad. So
have we noticed how good the Dodgers have been with Kopech? Have you noticed how good Kopech's been? He's been the number 3 reliever in baseball in terms of ERA and expected runs against since he got acquired.
Did you? Is he talking about Alejandro Kirk?
What?
All right. Someone said Kyle looks like the guy from the Blue Jays. I think he's talking about Alejandro Kirk. All right. Next game, yo.
Wait, side by side. Please. Just replace my face with Alejandro Kirk so we can have the side by side.
These guys are dying next to me right now.
Oh my god. I can hear them.
No, that's just Beaver.
No, Andy's cracking up too. All right. Next up, Blue Jays Angels, Bowden Francis, Davis Daniels. You know what that means? That means pass.
High five.
Nothing.
Bye.
For me.
Next game.
Next. Trash ass organization.
Yeah, if you need anything, Zach Neto, another dude who's just breaking my model. 2+ bases if you really want it. I don't really want it today. So
do you really want it, Lindy?
no, it's Zach Neto. I'm good. And he's been awesome. He's been very underrated this year, but like these numbers are asinine. No.
I was gonna say if you want to do Neto and Vlad because they've both been decent, then that's the best you're gonna get out of this one.
Yeah, pass.
Next game is Pittsburgh, San Diego, and Toast. You would know more about this than me. But I actually read a couple articles that Joe Musgrove looked really good in his rehab starts, right? That he was throwing like 96 or something. Like apparently he looks good.
Yeah. I will say paint that with a little bit of salt just because he's so beloved in San Diego. So you're not going to hear
writers. Yeah.
You're not going to hear a lot of negative stuff about him. But yeah, I mean, this isn't like him coming out of here and he's ready to go. I mean, he's ready to pitch. So I just don't know what to think of the spot for them, considering they just played this Pittsburgh team and they throttled them. I guess I don't know. I don't know what to think in this game, honestly, guys. This is another pass for me. I do have a bit in a later game, but this Pittsburgh team has kind of killed me. I thought that they would maybe make a push for the playoffs, and they have just absolutely died the last couple of weeks. 7-13 their last 20, 1-9 their last 10. Playing the Dodgers, Padres, Arizona, Houston, that doesn't help. But guess what? Now you're playing the Padres again. So I would love to come on here and honestly play Pittsburgh just because of the spot that San Diego's in without a day off. But there's no way I can get there. So it's just a pass for me.
I wanted to bet Padres -1.5. I don't know what to expect from Musgrove, so I can't do it. There's going to be no Bednar for the Pirates. Also, some of the Pirates' key bullpen arms threw like 28 pitches last night. I think it was like Beeks and one of the other guys. So the Pirates are a little bit of a limited Santana. Yeah. So the Pirates are a little bit of a limited bullpen. I mean, I can at -200 and like who knows, like it's the kind of shit where like Musgrove might go out there and throw 60 pitches and get pulled and they'll be like, well, shit. So there's just too many uncertainties. My last two bets are the 2 games after this. So this is another pass for me.
I guess it's funny that you said that because my issue is I didn't want Musgrove to go out there and look good for 2 or 3 innings. And then just they're pulling him just because, and then Carl Edwards come out there and fuck things up. Like that would just piss me off. So
leave it to Carl Edwards.
Yeah. Well, I love the over here, and I still like it at 8.5 even money at ESPN, -104 over on DK. Got this at 8 -110 yesterday at opening number and jammed it immediately. I thought it was going to be Marco Gonzalez. It's going to be Jake Woodford. So it ends up being Jake Woodford. It's going to be more of a bullpen type committee deal. I think it's going to end up being Marco Gonzalez, who can eat some innings potentially, or maybe I don't know what Pittsburgh is going to be doing. Looking at how these starters line up going into this one, I think they might hold Marco back here and might just be a true bullpen game. But I'll just point back to Petco. Petco's played asinine, and I've got some boots on the ground, some nice people who have tried to help me figure out what's going on from a park factor perspective, because you don't see this kind of stuff. We saw it with Progressive Field a little bit this season. It went from being one of the more difficult ballparks here for lefty power, despite J-Ram, despite Josh Naylor, and now one of the easier ballparks for lefty power. You're seeing across the board, every single number, every single metric for power in the home run department, Petco's out of control. It's number 1 in baseball right now for the long ball against righties. It is the number 1 ballpark in baseball against lefties. We're talking above Dodger Stadium and Yankee Stadium and Great American Small Park. I mean, it is just absurd how small Petco's played this season, and I don't get it. there might be something going on with doors that they're closing that originally had a wind funnel. No, I'm serious. This is
he's
what
100% right. They redid
banner.
the whole back. They redid that whole back outfield. So it's completely different layers.
So you have so I've been to Petco, and you have the wind that would generally be coming off the ocean, but it has blocked it off before. Apparently there might be wind that's getting over the top, and then to steal from Toast, it's swirling, baby. Something's going on. It's the swirls. It's the swirls, bitches. I'm telling you, it is the goddamn swirls. And so if we're going to have power playing up like this, there's lefty power, and it's a prove-it spot for Joe Musgrove. Joe Musgrove has been dog shit up to this point. They sent him down to single A ball to rehab him. Single A ball. That is a huge telltale sign that confidence might be shot, that there's a lot of different things. You don't send a dude like Joe Musgrove down to single A ball to just get in reps. He might have a short stint out in this one. I don't think he's very stretched out from single A into this. I saw like 43 pitches was the most that he had gotten to. I don't know if that ends up being, the same because it had been a while since I saw that start. But Joe Musgrove, I think there's enough lefty power that can make him pay $50 every day here. So we're going to be looking at Petco over 8.5, minus 104 on DK if you don't have ESPN or you're limited there, which is very easy to do.
All right. He's fading the swirls here. Let's move on to the next game. Let's get to some more bets. I do have some more bets, and we're getting to it. CLV King added again. I took Arizona minus 1.5. I got it at plus 100. That is so gone, which sucks because some of you that didn't get it are like, all right, then what's the point of telling us now?
True King is here. I got it at plus 110. Just saying.
Yeah, probably because you probably copied my bet.
CLV King?
How can I copy it if I got a better price?
All right, go. Tell us why, Toast.
I mean, for me, it was witnessing them just mantle Philadelphia the last couple nights. Arizona, I mean, they're just an unstoppable force right now. Not to mention that Brandon Pfaadt has just been on an absolute tear as well. I think that he absolutely blanks this Colorado team coming out of Colorado personally. Cal Quantrill's been absolutely terrible. This was me just absolutely watching Arizona dismantle Philadelphia. It's just been absolutely unreal. So Brandon Pfaadt since July 1st, 22.9 K percentage, 2.39 walk percentage. I mean, this kid has full command of everything that he is doing. So this is just a bet on him. So yeah, Arizona minus 1.5.
Yeah. I mean, kind of the same. And also beyond that, there's also some matchup advantages I like here. If I'm going to fade Brandon Pfaadt, I'm going to want to see a lot of lefties in the lineup. It's not the case with Colorado. I think they only have 3 lefties in their lineup, so nothing to be concerned about there. Also, this ballpark is a weird one, but Brandon Pfaadt's been really good here. In his last 5 home starts, he's got a 3.26 ERA, 109 WHIP. Like Toast mentioned, you have Colorado not only directly coming out of Coors Field, but they've also been ass on the road offensively, period. I mean, one of the worst road lineups in baseball all season. Last 30 days, bottom 5 across the board on the road. So, I mean, all signs point to Brandon Pfaadt pitching a good game. Also, Brandon Pfaadt's been really good against bad lineups. It's when Brandon Pfaadt pitches against good lineups, he gets into trouble. Against bottom 10 lineups on the season, he's got a 3.06 ERA, 0.96 WHIP. So he's been excellent when he's been given the opportunity to pitch against bad lineups like this. Also on the other side, like Toast said, I mean, Cal Quantrill, last 3 road starts, a 13.50 ERA. No, I didn't mess that up. 13.50 in his last 3 road starts. He's getting absolutely smashed. Arizona in the last 30 days, best lineup in baseball across the board against right-handed pitching. Arizona at home last 30 days, best across the board, first in every single metric. On paper, the Diamondbacks should win this game by 5 runs. Now, granted, if you're not in our group or didn't grab this last night, you're looking at a much shittier price, but honestly, I think Arizona should win by 3+. So, Arizona in a comfortable one.
One more thing to add, because I was looking up Rockies' first game out of Coors on their road trip this year. First game out of Coors, 237. Yeah, I know. 237 average, 332 slugging, almost striking out 26% of the time. Just absolutely terrible in this spot for the Rockies. Lindy?
You called me out once upon a time about how good Colorado was in those first games.
I gave you an example of why I bet them that day because of how they had been. And I told you that I was on that, but that day I was not.
Yeah, I hate when things don't fit my narratives either. It sucks.
Are you on the snakes with us, Lindy?
I'm absolutely on the snakes with you. It's not going to end up being Cal Quantrill, by the way. It's going to be Blaylock. He's a rookie. I don't think he's very stretched out. It's probably going to be a little bit of a bullpen game. When the bullpen that you are talking about is Colorado, do we care? I do not think so. Colorado, one of the worst bullpens in baseball. Year in, year out, you attack them. Just be aware that it's pretty much all righties, too. So if you are looking for any kind of value here, it is Josh Rogers, who pitched 28 pitches yesterday, only lefty that they currently have available in that pen. So if you're looking at props, you're getting very face value here on the Arizona side. And then just taking a page from your guys' books, as I was working through this last night, Arizona against righties lately, you look at the last 30 days, 157 WRC plus, that's best in baseball. You go to the last 14 days, Arizona against right-handed pitching, 178 WRC plus, nearly 30 points higher than the New York Yankees at number 2. We're talking ridiculous pace. Arizona turns it on here in August. I think the run line is still very, very appealing here. Yet another bet that I have on a game here in this one.
Yeah, as Lindy pointed out in the comments are pointing out, Cal Quantrill's not pitching. You can tell I bet this last night because I bet it got my number, 30 cents moved. Didn't look at it again.
Captain Kirk, let's go.
So yeah, I'm still with it against this kid Blaylock, who I don't know who it is. All right, let's move on to I believe the final game. Braves Giants, and I bet this one pretty simple. I got the Giants at plus 100. Would still play them at a pick'em though. This one's pretty simple here. I think the price is way off. Not that by no means have the Giants been good, or am I sitting here being like, oh, how do you not take the Giants? It's nothing like that. But straight up, where's the advantage for the Braves here? Blake Snell's been better than Chris Sale, but let's say, okay. So first of all, Blake Snell's been better than Chris Sale, period. But let's say they're even. Let's say Blake Snell and Chris Sale, it's a tongue twister. Blake Snell, Chris Sale are even. For argument's sake, let's say they're even. Where's the advantage for the Braves? This is a bottom 10 lineup against lefties for the last 30 days. The Giants are a top 10 lineup against lefties for the last 30 days. I mean, hitting wise, and then you take into account that this game is in San Francisco, where the Giants have been so much better all year. Now, I get it. The Giants lately haven't been the most dangerous lineup, but they're still hitting lefties. They're still getting to lefty starters. So, yeah, at plus 100, it was a no-brainer. I'd still play the Giants at a pick 'em. I think Giants are the side here. Braves have had the better bullpen. I will give you that. But even their bullpen's a little taxed. Jimenez isn't going to be available. So, yeah, this is definitely Giants for me.
Yeah, I bet the Giants as well. I thought getting Blake Snell at plus 100 against this Braves team that hasn't played well in 2 weeks. 3-7 their last 10, 7-13 their last 20. Hell, they're 13-17 their last 30. They haven't been playing 500 baseball for months now. Chris Sale's been really, really good. He's going 4 or 5 innings with a whole bunch of no decisions. He's just not a guy in this Braves team as a whole. Not a team that scares me. And you're right, Kyle. The Giants haven't been scoring a ton of runs lately, but guess what? They're also 7-3 their last 10. So they're figuring out ways to win games. So I honestly felt like I have the better team playing better baseball at a better price. Like, it was just pretty simple for me.
Lindy?
I got nothing, guys. Under 6.5 is like minus 118. It like the juice side of things now. I thought about betting exact score 1-0 and just taking both sides of it and just seeing what happened, because I thought that would be a funny thing to post. But then I just also realized that that's a terrible bet, because it's not like books aren't aware of this, and it's just juice to the moon. And the market has already moved like towards this under in a way where I just kind of expected it to. And I was just hoping it would find its way to 7 in some way, shape, or it was never going to happen in San Francisco. Let's be serious. These pitchers are too good. This is too difficult of a spot for me to really invest anything. Probably if you made me pick, I'd be going to the Snell side of things, because he's confirmed #back, as Toast and I would like to say. But Kyle, I got nothing. I got nothing for you here. I'll just take my under as a lean and move on with my life. But one of the few games I don't have any action on today, so I'll be okay with it.
All right. So, you want to hit him with your community parlay song, Prop Beaver?
Community parlay, the parlay we bet, yeah. Community parlay is for the community to communized. Making a parlay, yeah.
All right, let's get to voting. Do you have an underdog today, Prop Beaver? Oh, all right. First game up, Cubs money line. Oh no, Guardians money line won that poll. It's Cleveland money line. Cardinals money line. Astros money line. And Red Sox money line. Cast your votes while they're voting. Lindy, want to tell them where they can find your stuff?
Yeah, hop on over to Odd Shopper, everybody. We got the Odd Shopper Marketplace, fully operational Death Star. We've got the tools as well, where you guys can utilize the market-based approach. Hop on over in there. Yeah, good stuff as always. Always fun to be able to stop by and hang out with you guys because I really enjoy Kyle. Toast, you're okay too. It's a fun time to come kick it. Pretty much all I got for you. Good to see you guys, and let's go win some money tonight. And my God, if David Hamilton goes hitless, you will not hear from me again.
If David Hamilton goes hitless, you will not hear from me again, he says.
Goodbye.
Someone goes, that community parlay song still bangs.
Community parlay. I love it.
Proppy will take first and second from the poll, by the way.
I'm more curious to watch Matt Wallner tonight because I mean you have a little bit of history with him on the show, so you never really know how that's going to go.
It's literally been like 3 weeks, 4 weeks since one game where it made sense. Batting ninth, completely different situation. People hate good decision making. My bad.
Yankees, Dodgers, Padres, Diamondbacks.
Most logic goes out the window when you're commenting on the YouTube.
I've never noticed that. And hashtag Lindy bangs our moms. That sounds great. Show me where. Line them up. Goodbye.
Denver Broncos coming up next. It's true or false? It's a rebuild year for the Broncos.
Is it ever a rebuild year in Denver? Do they?
I don't know because they won 8 games last year, and we're looking like where did they improve? Like what did they do to win 9 or 10 games? And not seeing it.
I thought you were a Bo Nix guy.
Me? No.
I think Bo Nix has a legitimate chance to lead the NFL in completion percentage.
Yeah, because every single pass is going to go 4 yards.
Absolutely. It's going to be Drew Brees light. It's just going to be like out quick little.
Or Drew Brees heavy.
Yeah, I see what you did.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All
right, so
later,
it's later, Lindy. Community parlay is Astros, Guardians, Yankees, and Diamondbacks for a grand total odds of
Astros, Yankees, Cleveland, 4 people, 517
plus 517. All right, Prop Beaver set the screen up for the Broncos. Taking a quick piss.
Stay goated, y'all. Should I stay since there's nobody there, Beaver, or does it really matter? At least put Andy up there or something.
Because I have you muted, bro.
I didn't want you fucking the baseball up.
Maybe you're a trick ass fucking god. You're a piece of shit.
They should be able to hear you now.
Maybe you're a piece of shit. All right, there we go. Now I gotta adjust. Don't talk too loud.
Put Andy on the screen.
I'm trying.
Why is it whenever I'm live?
I wonder what the rest of that sentence
Lord
was.
knows.
No, I wonder what the rest of that fucking sentence was.
Oh shit.
Pig. Fucking pig.
All right. Winky's on the screen.
Yeah, Winkadai is on the screen.
All right, we're talking Denver Broncos. So I guess the question that I want to start with here before we get into anything, you got the same coaching staff back, but is this a rebuild? Because what did they do to improve here?
What did they do to improve?
They're at 8 wins. So when you're at 8 wins, you either are, okay, how are we going to get to 9 or 10? Or are we rebuilding? What's going on here?
All right, let's go ahead and look at some of the additions and subtractions for this team. Yeah, in terms of additions, wow, nothing.
That's what I'm saying.
Really nothing. They didn't really do anything. Sorry guys, burped in the camera for you guys. Sorry. So we brought in the safety from Miami, Brandon Jones, to replace Kareem Jackson, the assailant from last year that was trying to give everybody a fucking concussion. So they replaced him. Justin Simmons, he also left last year. He was a mainstay there for years in the secondary. So they replaced 2 of their safeties with 1 safety. So that doesn't even make sense. So they brought 1 safety in to replace 2 safeties. They brought Jonathan Franklin Myers in to, I guess, somewhat boost their edge rush. Not even the best edge rusher there. So that's not
okay,
the best
He's okay.
addition. I guess okay. I mean, what, like a 76 in Madden? Like,
oh, we're talking about his Madden rating?
What, like the 7th best edge rusher on the Jets? Like, he's not a very good edge rusher. I'm sorry. He's just an okay edge rusher. Zach Wilson to be the 3rd quarterback on the team. Levi Wallace, a journeyman corner. I mean,
but Zach Wilson's a locker room guy.
He is the locker room guy. He speaks within prayer. He speaks within journey. So yeah, I mean, if you're talking about moxie, if you're talking about aura, the Broncos did bring in a lot of aura to this locker room.
99 overall in aura.
If you're talking about talent, where is it? Where's the talent they brought into the locker room? If you're talking about the talent they lost, though, I mean,
well, if okay, the way I look at it is, okay, if they want to take a step forward, they have to improve the run defense. They couldn't stop the run for shit, and they didn't really do that. So I don't understand. Same defensive coordinator, similar personnel. How are they stopping the run this year?
Well, I don't think it's really going to get much better because you lost Josie Jewell. You get rid of Josie Jewell. You try and bring in Cody Barton. As you can see right there at the bottom of the list of additions, Cody Barton had a 53.9 PFF rating last year. One of the worst linebackers in all of football. He wasn't much better for the Seahawks 2 years before. So this guy is just not a good linebacker. He's a downgrade over Josie Jewell. So I don't really think the rush defense gets better. And we don't really have a depth chart that we could go ahead and look at, but this pass rush last year, if you go ahead and look at it, let's go ahead and bring up the numbers. Something that surprised me about this pass rush is that this was a unit that was 8th in adjusted sack rate. That's pretty surprising because there's no big names in terms of this pass rush. I mean, I'm going to just pull up the depth chart to myself right now.
Though. They blitzed a lot.
Yes, exactly. So they were able to capitalize on the blitzes they had. They were 5th in blitz rate. So when they did blitz, they were able to capitalize on those blitzes. They were able to get sacks at the 8th highest rate. But they only got pressure at the 4th highest, at the 4th lowest rate. I mean, that is heinous right there. If you're not getting pressure on the quarterback, that puts a lot of pressure on your corners. And the only good corner in this secondary is Patrick Surtain. If you can see right there, they play man at a pretty high rate. If you're playing man at a high rate and your only good man coverage corner is Patrick Surtain, then it's just feasting grounds for the other receivers there. So obviously number 1 options, yeah, they're being held by Patrick Surtain, but other guys are just eating on them. And I remember specifically in that Houston Texans Denver Broncos matchup, I mean, Patrick Surtain last year, it was even starting to catch up to him, the fact that he can't keep this defense together all by himself. I mean, Nico Collins was kicking his ass in that game. He couldn't do anything. So yeah,
Yeah, and I mean, you could see it. We talked about the run defense numbers, arguably one of the worst run defenses in the NFL, maybe the worst, honestly. They allowed 5 yards per carry on the team, which is dead last. But if you look at their pass defense numbers too, they're dead last against the short pass, 29th against the deep pass. And if you're thinking, oh, well, maybe they'll just run some zone this year because Prop Beaver just mentioned how man coverage could be an issue. Well, they're actually bottom 7 zone coverage defense as well. So when they did run zone coverage last year, they were 25th in yards per pass attempt allowed in zone, 27th in passer rating allowed in zone. So the zone coverage didn't help much either. So I don't see, and I feel like we keep repeating the same point here, but I don't see where the step forward is.
With Denver the one thing I will say, somebody brought it up. Daniel Caps, actually, right there. Didn't Denver had a good stretch last season? Yes, they did. And really, it all came with their defense. The main reason they had
there, if you want
to
show them that defensive stretch, if you go to their defensive game logs, you should have a graphic in there so they can say.
So yes,
it should be towards the back.
Up for you guys.
It's actually a cool graphic. You can see the exact stretch. Keep going. No, keep going. It's Denver defense. It'll say that one.
Okay.
So if you see, there's a stretch where the defensive numbers look decent there.
So if you guys look from weeks 1 through 5 here, as you can see, I mean, the Denver defense is absolutely horrendous. The rush yards per carry, 5.3 yards per carry allowed, 8.1 yards per carry allowed, 5.5 yards per carry allowed, 7.3 yards per carry allowed. I mean, this team was getting ran all over. They couldn't do absolutely anything. And on top of that, they were also getting killed in the pass game as well. Look at the pass yards per attempt, 7.7, 7.7, 13.4, 9.6, 7.7. Pass rating as well, all 100 or greater, getting killed. But then look what happens from week 6 all up until week 14. Look at those greens. We're starting to see 78.8, 59.1, 59.3, 80.3,
and look at the teams too.
68.6.
Mahomes, Josh Allen, like there's some quarterbacks.
Kirk Cousins in there. Yeah. So
I think Kirk Cousins might have been hurt by then.
Yeah, that was Josh Dobbs actually. So yes, thank you for correcting me there.
But
yes.
Also Jordan Love's in there. Like
yes, but they started facing some good competition. So they did have a good stretch in there, but then what happens at the end of the season? They go ahead and they shit the bed again. So that's what makes this Denver team so hard to read, because at the end of the season, it's a weird schedule. Again, they face Detroit at Detroit and they get absolutely killed. 6.6 yards per carry allowed, 135 pass rating. That's brutal. Sure, that's at Detroit, so you could give them a bit of a break.
Everyone gets cooked at
Detroit.
But
then you're getting cooked by the Patriots. You allow an 118 pass rating to the Patriots, and I forgot how many points in the game, but a pretty good amount of points. You just simply can't be doing that. And then on top of that, you allow Aiden O'Connell to have a good game on you, and the Raiders to put 26 plus points on you. So when you finish the season like that as well, pretty bad. Let's just look at it. Weeks 1 through 5, 32nd in defensive EPA per play. Weeks 6 through 14, 3rd in defensive EPA per play. And then weeks 15 through 18, 27th in defensive EPA per play. There's no consistency. It makes it very hard to predict this unit going into this year. And with the losses that happened as well, it's pretty hard for me to go ahead and say, okay, I know the majority of the season, that middle span, they were a really good defense. But if you look at the numbers as a whole, they were a bottom 3 unit last year. And I think unfortunately that's what we have to look at them as going into the season. They're a pretty bad unit. They don't really have a pass rush. Besides Patrick Surtain, would you say any of these guys are top 10 players at their position? I don't think so.
No, and I'm pretty sure the consensus, we could all say that the defense should on paper be bad. I guess maybe the coaching staff thinks they can replicate what they found for that 5-week stretch, maybe. So maybe there's something, but I think as a whole, more evidence points towards the Denver defense being poor again. Now, on the other side of the ball,
yes,
I think if you are trying to play devil's advocate, and maybe if you're an optimistic Broncos fan, that you maybe can point at a few things here. Sean Payton's second year, another year. Sean Payton knows how to score points. We've seen it for years. He got the quarterback he wanted. So,
yes.
I'm not a Bo Nix guy, but that's what Sean Payton wants to do. That's why Drew Brees was able to play till he was 75 years old. He wants to get the ball out quick, 4 yards, get the ball to his playmakers, and that's exactly what he got in Bo Nix. That's what Bo Nix made a career doing. That's what he almost won the Heisman Trophy doing, was getting the snap, make a quick read, get the ball out. That's exactly what Drew Brees did. That's why Drew Brees was able to play so long. So he got the guy he wanted to run the offense he wants to run. And you know who I think one of the most underrated offensive weapons in the league is Courtland Sutton. Mm-hmm. That dude is that dude is a playmaker to the max. If you go on YouTube right now, I don't know this for a fact, but if you go on YouTube right now and type in Denver Broncos 2023 highlights, I bet you 90% of them are Courtland Sutton touchdown catches. He was the only player on that offense making plays. So you still got him. Javonte Williams healthy. I mean, I guess. What is he coming off, an Achilles?
No. So what I'm actually excited about Javonte Williams this year. So Javonte Williams coming off of an ACL tear, not last year, but the year before. And with running backs, it's not the year coming off that ACL tear you want to buy into them. It's that second year coming off of that ACL tear. They they got the reps in that they needed to build up on that knee, to get that strength needed. They got the confidence now. So going into it, year 2, he's looking really good in the preseason. He took 100% of the snaps with the starters in the preseason. You know how rare that is?
Yeah.
Very, very
That's
rare
good.
to
That's
take
cool.
100% of the snaps with the starters in the preseason. So for my fantasy people, very, very interesting there. And on top of that, look at this right here. 4th in run blocking grade last year, 14th in adjusted line yards. I was also looking at some of the PFF grades and stuff for the Denver line, because I want to see, with Lloyd Cushenberry gone, what are the strengths of this Denver O-line? Are they still good? Because they do have some pretty interesting pieces. Mike McClinchy's pretty good. Garrett Bowles is pretty good. Quinn Miners is pretty good. They have a pretty decent O-line, but their strength is not pass blocking, really. It's run blocking. They're a really, really strong run blocking O-line. So I think where this offense can find its strength and its identity is just pounding the shit out of the rock this year with Javonte Williams, and just living and dying by the screen game. Living and dying by the screen, pounding the shit out of the ball.
That kid McLaughlin, too. He's a beast.
I know. I really think that it's going to be a lot of running the ball, getting a lot of these running backs involved, lots of screen games, and trying to use as much clock as possible. Because if you're Sean Payton, you have to know your strengths and your weaknesses, and you got to say, Vance, listen, brother, it's not you. I know your unit's pissed. I'm not giving you much to work with. So I want your unit on the field as little as possible. I'm going to try and take as much time off the clock, and I'm going to try and get in the end zone as much as possible, but I also need you on the field as little as possible. So I think that's what they got to do. I think they got to take as much time off the clock. And I don't know. I don't trust this Bo Nix guy, but if this is the perfect marriage, as some people think it is, maybe this works. See, the Broncos is tough because I think the range of outcomes is so wide. I think this team could win 3 games. I think they could also win 8 games. So
that's not that wide. So under 500, definitely.
Well, I think for a team with a win total of 5.5, it's pretty wide.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
Yeah.
Andy, any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of had very basic thoughts on this team as well. They're very hard to read. I don't like Bo Nix. I watched him in college for now 4 years. Since he was at Auburn, really is when obviously he got a lot of playing time. And in the SEC, he was, and that's the best you can compare to the NFL. He was pretty much average at best as a college quarterback in the SEC. And then he goes over to Oregon, where everybody knows in the Pac-12, nobody really played defense down. Nobody played defense on the field, but they also schemed him up perfectly where he never had to throw the ball down the field. And really the only time he struggled were in his biggest games, which I always thought was weird. Both games against Washington, he threw interceptions in both of those games. He protected the ball really.
The first one was Dan Lanning's fault, not his.
But he protected the ball really well all year. But when he faced those a defense that really wasn't that good, that Washington team, he was throwing interceptions, and it was weird and at a weird rate too. So that was weird in his big games. He couldn't play well. And then on defense, like you guys said, they didn't really add much. Obviously, you guys talked about Andre Smith. Their 3rd round pick. They didn't have a 2nd round pick, but Jonah Ellis played a lot at Utah. He was good at tackling. I mean, that was really all he was great at. But he played since his freshman year. He was a starter there. He played 35 games in 3 years. So he's a guy who played a lot. So I guess you could maybe see him hitting. But really, they didn't have a very good draft either. So yeah, I don't really see much from this team in terms of improvement.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and get to the schedule. I mean, I think that there is a path for Denver offense to be successful. And I mean, we did see a brief stint when the defense looked good. I think it's pretty thin though.
Yeah, I mean, well, the one hope is that their schedule could be as easy as their division mate, the Chargers. I mean, because the Chargers schedule was ridiculous. So let's hope that their schedule would be as easy. But I mean, I'm just looking at a glimpse of it right now.
I actually don't hate their
It's not
opener.
looking like that.
If I'm Denver, I'm worried about. Okay, so obviously they open on the road in Seattle.
Well, you hate this the Seahawks.
Well,
hate
I've never
he
seen
loves-
somebody who hates the
you
Seahawks.
love
more.
them.
Stop.
He
No,
hates
I don't. So that's not true. If I'm going to mark Denver down as an automatic loss on the road, it would be against a team that can run the ball, which Seattle couldn't last year. So maybe on the road in Seattle against a Seahawks offense that isn't really equipped to exploit Denver's biggest weakness. There's no way I'm going to say, hey, Denver wins this game, but like I don't think it's crazy.
Okay.
Denver steals that one. Not to mention the Seahawks defense was so underwhelming, underperformed like crazy last year. So, I mean, obviously we have to mark that as a loss, but I don't think it's crazy.
Mhm.
Home against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh can run the ball this year. That's a loss, man.
Yeah. I mean, they'll get killed.
At Tampa Bay.
So the thing with the Tampa Bay game is Tampa really can't run. But Tampa can stop the run.
This isn't
But-
bad.
But can Tampa stop the run with Devin White gone? And then
So I don't. How about this?
We'll-
They'll take one of Tampa Bay or Seattle.
I mean, we'll get to it eventually, but I think Tampa's horrendous.
Yeah,
So,
I don't like them either. So let's say they're 2-1 after 3. At Jets loss.
2-1 after 3.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Oh no! I'm sorry.
No, 1 and 2.
The Pittsburgh's a loss. They're
Yeah.
1-2. I'm
1
sorry.
and 2.
Yeah.
Apologies. 1-2 after 3. Jets loss.
Yeah.
Home against Raiders. Well, they'll take one of the Las Vegas games, so we'll give them the home one.
Mm-hmm.
That's 2-3.
Mm-hmm.
Home against Chargers.
I think they'll beat the Chargers.
All right, that's
Yeah.
3-3. At Saints loss probably. Even though I'm not big on the Saints, but Sean Payton returns to New Orleans. It's poetic.
It's poetic.
They're losing
I want to
the
give
game.
them
Stop
one
it.
of the Saints or the Panthers.
Oh, I'll give you. Okay,
I mean,
let's give him one.
really?
Let's give him one.
Really?
4-4.
What do you mean, really?
I'm
Both
gonna
those
give
teams
them
are
the
absolute
Panthers. If they're
heinous
gonna win that
dog
game by
piss.
30.
Dude, Bryce Young.
They suck. What are we talking
All right.
about?
At Baltimore, at Kansas City, losses.
Yeah,
Home
I mean-
against Atlanta's a loss. They're going to run the shit out of them.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I mean, Arthur Smith's gone. It's a new look Atlanta team. But still, I mean, I think we.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Bijan Algier should still.
So now we're
They
at
should
4-7 at Las Vegas. We gave them the first one, which means.
You got to lose this one.
And Cleveland, dude.
But Cleveland on the road. And Deshaun.
Yeah. Oh.
Denver steals that game.
What's their win total at? 5.5, right?
Yep.
And then Colts, they got the Chargers.
But then do they get one more game? I don't know.
They can win that home of the Colts. If the Chiefs have the 1 seed clinched or some shit, they can win week 18.
Yeah, he
This
makes
is
a point.
over.
I'm going over.
This is over.
I'm going over. Wow.
It's-
I really have an over for a Bo Nix fucking Broncos team. What the hell?
It's disgusting. But they're at 6 wins. They land on 6.
I like them better
Is
than
Bo
Chargers
Nix- dude,
somehow.
Is Bo Nix the solidified starter? Or are they going to be throwing Zach Wilson?
Okay,
at
here's a
points? 'Cause
caveat,
then,
people.
Then it's like a
I'd like to take back my over.
If Stidham's starting, I'm
No.
not rolling this shit. Bo Nix
No.
better be the week 1 starter.
Bo
That's
Nix
the one
is
caveat
starting.
here.
Obi starts.
Is Bo Nix starting?
That's
I
a
didn't think-
caveat here, people. Bo Nix must be the game 1 starter, or it's void.
Okay, so
Well, yesterday Stidham started.
Stidham started.
I stand
Yeah,
with
I
Bo.
watched the
I don't think it's been
I
announced
stand
yet.
with Bo. I'm
Broncos
not
should
standing
make
with
Bo
this
Nix their
prick,
number-
Jared Stidham. I stand with Bo.
Honestly, I don't mind Stidham though. As long as it's not Zach Wilson, I'm still on the
As long as
over.
It's not Zach Wilson.
I mean, if it's Zach Wilson and burn the take it. Take the all. Take the all under.
All right, let's
All right,
switch
yeah,
it
let's
over.
go to college.
Let's
All
talk
right.
some college ball.
See y'all later,
ACC,
folks.
Who's up first, Cal?
Wow. Golden Bear.
We're into the ACC, and although it's fun to make fun of the ACC, we're going to start out with some teams that actually should be in pretty good shape here.
Mhm.
Number one being the California Golden Bears. So head coach Justin Wilcox back for his 8th season. The OC left. He took the Baylor job. He wasn't fired though. He left. He got an upgrade. Baylor OC's better job. The guy that took over, his name's Mike Beloche. Beloche?
Yep.
Is that how you say it? He takes over as OC. He was there last year as the O-line coach, so really not much change in the coaching staff. Should pretty much be the same unit here. Cal is 41st in returning production, 15 returning starters, 7 on offense, 8 on defense. So a lot of a lot of the same faces back for Cal, including the quarterback Fernando Mendoza. Now, he wasn't the starter to begin last season. Ben Finley was supposed to be the starter last year. He got hurt. Then they brought in Sam Jackson the fifth to play some quarterback, but actually he wasn't really a quarterback. He's actually a receiver at Auburn now. So like they had like an athlete playing quarterback. And then about midway through the season, Mendoza took over, and he was pretty good. I mean, he was a freshman last year, mind you. He was a freshman, took over halfway through the season, threw over 1,700 yards, 14 touchdowns, 10 picks. Cal's passing attack was absolutely awful. Like we mentioned, there was a receiver playing quarterback. And then they were actually throwing the ball, scoring some points when Mendoza took over. So even though they did bring in Chandler Rogers through the portal from North Texas, they brought in a quarterback that can play. Mendoza's going to be the guy here. What it does is Cal's going to be able to throw the ball this year, whether their quarterback's healthy. Like even if Mendoza gets hurt, they're still going to have a quarterback that's able to step in and throw. So Cal's going to be able to throw the ball this year. And then when you look at the rest of the offense, it's still all positive. Their running back is back, Jaden Ott, rushed for over 1,300 yards and 12 touchdowns last year, and even missed the game.
Yeah, he's a top 10 back in college football.
Yeah, he's a beast, Jaden Ott. And they also brought in a transfer, Kadarius Callaway from Old Dominion. So not only do they have one of the best backs in the ACC, maybe the best back in the ACC, but they also have Kadarius Callaway from Old Dominion. So they have an RB2 that could start on a lot of teams. So they're loaded in the running back room as well. They did lose their leading receiver and a few other receiving weapons. They absolutely crushed it in the portal. They brought in Tobias Merriweather. That's a kid from Notre Dame. They brought in a kid named Mikey Matthews from Utah. They also brought in younger wide receivers from Ohio State, New Mexico State. So they did lose their receiving core, but the names they brought in should be more talented than the unit they had last year, even though it is new faces. They lost a few pieces on the offensive line, but they brought in a kid named Victor Stoffel. I don't know. It's an offensive lineman from Temple. He was first team all conference last year with Temple. So one of the kids they brought in to start on the offensive line is first team all conference, super experienced, established. They also brought in transfers on the offensive line from Coastal Carolina. They brought in an FCS kid. So overall, Andy, I don't know how you don't like this Cal offense.
No, I love their offense. And the way that I looked at it at quarterback, just real quick, I know it's going to be Mendoza's job from the beginning. I do think Rogers will compete because he is a guy that a lot of people liked. And the OC who was hired, I don't remember how you said his name. He was the OC at North Texas a few years ago with Rogers. So that was a connection. That was a connection that's had. But every chance that Mendoza wants, he's going to get to this is his job unless something goes horribly wrong. But either way, neither one of them is a bad option in the ACC. If you listed quarterbacks, I think they'd be toward the top or toward the middle there. And obviously, we talked about Ott. He's amazing. The transfers were highly regarded when they were younger. Haven't necessarily gotten the playing time yet. And the O-line, they said, is 7 deep with experience. So that should be a very improved spot too. So yeah, I like this offense a lot. Going into a conference where I think they'll already immediately have a top half offense.
Yeah, for sure. And now when we get to the defense, which is essentially the weakness of this Cal team, doesn't even look that bad either. I mean, they lost 2 starters on the defensive line, but one of the guys back is their best piece. They're also bringing back both their leading pass rushers from last year. So should still be fine on the defensive front. They did lose, I believe, their leading tackler, their main linebacker, but one of the linebackers they're bringing back was the Pac-12 Freshman of the Year last year. So they got a nice piece of linebacker, young up-and-comer. Secondary, they lost their main safety and leading tackler. So like their main guy in the secondary is gone. But their other safety was third team all Pac-12. They also added a first team all conference FCS kid. They also got a guy named Colin Gamble. He was a 2-year starter. He missed all of last season with an injury. So he's still there. So overall, I mean, not really tough to poke some holes in the defense. It wasn't a great defense last year, but it's returning a ton of production, and they should be solid. It's not like there's a ton of firepower in the ACC either.
No, that was part of my reasoning. I think this is a very improved D line is very strong. They expect better than the run numbers last year. I think their linebacker core already is top of the conference with Clemson. Clemson always has the best linebackers, but they'll be up there. The secondary didn't necessarily get better, but the guys returning and the credits what they did last year, going from the Pac-12 to the ACC. I mean, listen to the quarterbacks they had to face. They had to face Penix, Uigalele. They had to face Caleb Williams. They had to face Bo Nix. Stayed at a solid quarterback last year.
Cam Ward.
Yeah, Cam Ward was there last year. Ashton Daniels at Stanford.
Well, Cam Ward they still have to base Cam Ward.
Yeah, unfortunately, 2 of those names are still in the conference. Ukulele, but depending on if they're on their schedule this year, they're going to face a much worse quarterback conference. So I naturally think that their passing numbers will improve just based off that. Plus, they brought in an all first team FCS. The whole FCS, he was first team safety. And they're returning the starter Gamble, like you said. So yeah, this defense should be very improved. That's why I think overall this is a very improved team going into a conference where I think they'll be more competitive.
All right, should we talk schedule?
Yeah, I'm curious if Ukulele is on that schedule.
Yeah, he is, and Cam Ward.
Oregon State's.
He's got him back-to-back weeks actually. So all right, Cal. Obviously, week 1 win over UC Davis at Auburn. I mean, you got to say loss, right?
Yeah, that's a loss. Auburn's going to be
home against San Diego State win. That's 2-1. At Florida State loss.
Miami should be a loss.
Yeah, so that's 2-3.
I think that Pitt game's interesting because Pitt's very tough to beat.
What's Pitt coming off of? I want to see what Pitt's coming off of into that because Narduzzi's sneaky.
Yeah, that's a typical like Narduzzi game. Because
you got Pitt coming off at North Carolina. If Pitt goes into North Carolina and upsets them, I'll take Cal here, but let's chalk it up as a loss. But
I think they lose to NC State, unfortunately. NC State
they're
might win this conference.
So hold on. So that's 2-5 we got them at.
Okay, but I think it gets very winnable the next 2.
Win. They could win out. Well, at SMU will be tough.
Yeah, I think this is a 6-7 win team. Yeah, I think I would lean there over actually because I think Syracuse will be a toss-up game, and I think they could win that Pitt game. So yeah, I've got them winning that one. They're not gonna.
Yeah,
there's
6
only really
possible.
3 games.
Give me over.
There's only 4 games where I'm saying like there's no shot they win those games. I don't think they beat NC State. Miami, who knows what they'll be at that point? They should be better. But Florida State's gonna be really good, and I think Auburn's. They'll hype that game up on game day. They'll hype that one up like it's a good game. But I think Auburn's a significantly more talented team.
All right, so over. Let's move on to the next team, which is who's up next? Boston College. We're talking Castellanos. All right. So Prop Beaver's going to get Boston College up on the screen. Looks like he already did. All right. So Boston College head coach leaves. Jeff Hafley is gone. He's now with the Green Bay Packers as the defensive coordinator. So they lost their head coach after 4 years. But look who takes over, Mr. Bill O'Brien himself. He's also bringing that kid, Will Lawing, with them to be the offensive coordinator. And he's been with O'Brien for years. He was with them with the Texans, Alabama Patriots. So he's basically followed Bill O'Brien around the OC. They're bringing in an NFL guy to coach the defense. He's got years of experience coaching DBs in the NFL. He's also been the defensive coordinator on some XFL, USFL teams. So pretty much an NFL-style staff here for Boston College with Bill O'Brien at the helm. Quarterback is back, Mr. Castellanos. Crazy athlete, rushed for over 1,100 yards, 13 touchdowns last year. Still a bit unproven as a passer. We have seen that he has the arm to make some big plays, but he also has the arm to make some big mistakes also. Just 121 passer rating on the season. And remember, it's the college football passer rating. 121 isn't that great. 15 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. So as far as Castellanos, you would think logic tells you he improves and develops a little bit as a passer. And there were times where he looked very good throwing the football, but there were also times where he looked very unreliable. So I guess a big question mark would be, we know Castellanos can run all over these ACC defenses. Yeah. And I mean, we saw him running all over Florida State's defense last year, and that was one of the best defenses in the country. So this kid's a crazy athlete. We know he can run all over the field, break tackles, make guys miss, make plays with his legs. That's not a question. Does he take a step forward as a passer, I guess, is the question.
Yeah, that was the big thing for me because I think it's very weird because if you're a football fan, you know the name Bill O'Brien. You know him as the NFL guy, but before he was in the NFL, he was pretty damn good at Penn State. He brought them out of a terrible spot. Obviously, they were put in for reasons over about a decade and a half ago or whatever now. But his teams in college were nothing like this one. Like, this is a one-dimensional. They want to run the football. They were 19th in run frequency last year. A lot of that, obviously, is the fact the quarterback doesn't necessarily have the arm yet. But he'll have to adjust kind of the way he coaches because those teams at Penn State weren't like this. I mean, this is a heavy-run team, and I think just maybe too one-dimensional for my liking in terms of the ACC. I know this isn't necessarily a conference where everybody wants to throw the football, but this team brings back everything that wasn't really successful last year. So I don't know if bringing in Bill O'Brien will help that. The O-line, they say, is filled with NFL caliber guys that'll be in the NFL within the next 2 years. But that's great. They ran really well last year. Will they be able to throw the ball? I don't really see it. They added a few receivers, but it doesn't really tell me that this team improved a ton.
Prop Beaver, the over is minus 150. The under is plus 130, by the way. I saw you looking. Yeah. So the graphic on the screen is not, the over is minus 150. The over is heavily juiced. The under is plus 130. Prop Beaver, I could see his mouse and he was like trying to figure that out. So yeah, the win totals are a little buggy on that site. All right. So yeah. It's tough. I don't think anyone could say definitively what Castellanos looks like as a passer this year, but we do know he's going to make some crazy plays with his legs because he's a wild athlete. Now, they do bring back their top back, Robichaux. He's back. 2 of their top 3 wide receivers are back. They also added in a few transfers. They brought in a kid from Vandy, kid from Texas Tech. So, okay, Castellanos is back, and regardless of what you think about him, he's got his running back, and he's got 2 of his top receivers back, and some new weapons. Mm-hmm. So definitely surrounded. Oh, I didn't write down notes on their offensive line.
Good O-line. I said it. NFL caliber guys, they really like the O-line. It was a lot of guys are just returning, obviously, because when you see an NFL guy coming in, you're not going to necessarily want to transfer out. So yeah, they really like the O-line, NFL guys. So this should be a lot like the offense last year. I think they're going to run for a lot of yards. I think they're going to be very successful. But those transfers better hit because, I mean, even the returning production from last year, receiver-wise, he didn't do much last year. So I don't know how much they upgraded in that spot.
Right. Okay, so offense should be good. I mean, it depends on if there's an adjustment period with the new coach. But, I mean, Bill O'Brien, if there's a name taking a new job, it's probably someone that can figure out how to put points on the board. It's not his first time, that's for sure.
He's been around the block.
Yeah. Now, on the other side of the ball, they do bring back 7 of their top 9 defensive linemen. 7 of their top 9. They lost at linebacker, though. They lost their leading tackler, and I believe the defensive captain. He's gone. Other than that, though, they have some nice pieces back. They also brought in a linebacker from Ohio State through the portal. So defensive line has a ton of talent back. Linebacker should be solid as well. They did lose 2 huge pieces in the secondary. They had a corner who had 5 picks last year. He's gone. They also lost the safety who was second on the team in tackles. So they lost 2 huge pieces in the secondary, but they have members of the secondary that missed time with injury last year. So overall, it's really not that bad. Maybe, if you asked me to point out an area of the team that I am concerned about, I would probably say the secondary, but it's really not in that bad shape, honestly.
Yeah, that was a big spot for me. Their injuries really screwed their secondary last year a ton. I mean, the numbers got kind of bludgeoned because of that. So they weren't necessarily that bad on pass defense, and a lot of those guys will be coming back. Top of the front of the defense, the D-line, a lot of NFL talent as well. I mean, when I say that, it's Bill O'Brien, who obviously knows what an NFL caliber guy is. So maybe he's coming in and just juicing his guys up, but this seems to be renowned that a lot of this team is in the spots where, the linebackers, D-line, O-line, a lot of their trenches spots are NFL caliber guys. So that's good, which means I think they'll be really good against the run. And if they're healthy, maybe they can be better against the pass. But again, they did lose their 2 best players in the secondary. So it'd be very questionable, their secondary.
Which brings us, you might have heard what we just said about Boston College. I mean, Kyle, I don't get it. How is their win total 4.5? Well, peek at their schedule. You can certainly not accuse Boston College of being stingy with their non-con. Holy shit. They're opening up on the road. Well, that's actually not non-conference. That's a conference game. On the road in Florida State. Good Lord. And then at Missouri on September 14th, a Missouri team that should be loaded. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you could almost pencil that in as 1-2. 1-3. Michigan State kind of sucks. They can beat them, though. They're losing. I'm not saying they will beat them. I'm saying you can't just... Michigan State, bro?
Yep, 1-3.
All right, hold on. First of all, I will say... You may look at Florida State and be like, hey, they gave Florida State a game last year. That's exactly why Florida State's going to not play around them this year.
That's Florida State's second game as well. So Florida State will already have a game in the books. It'll be. Okay,
so let's say 1-3. Although I think they steal Michigan State or Western Kentucky.
Okay, being wrong. Oh, they're going to be Western Kentucky. Yeah.
Oh, you love them. So, all right. So they beat Western. They're 2-3 after the Western Kentucky game. at Virginia. I haven't looked at Virginia.
Virginia's gonna have a rough year again. I
So
think Tony
it's a
Elliott
win.
could lose his job.
So that's 3 wins. At
They're
Virginia Tech lost.
They're losing to Virginia Tech at Virginia Tech.
What's Louisville look like?
Louisville's gonna be a very good team this year.
The defense should be loaded, right?
Yeah, and they brought in a quarterback they really like. Syracuse should be. Syracuse is winnable, but
That's
I
a
won't
win.
say that that's
No, that's a
shockable.
win,
I don't know.
bro.
There's a lot of talent on Syracuse. They're gonna lose.
So they
SMU.
win the wins. Duquesne, Western Kentucky, Virginia, Syracuse at SMU is tough.
And I think the rest of the schedule. UNC is probably a loss. Pitt's probably a loss too. I really don't like the schedule for them.
No, they should be Pitt at home. Let's put them at
Brutal
5. Give me the over. I mean, I'm not betting it at minus
take the under.
150. Really? You put them at okay.
Yeah.
All right. Next.
They could lose the Western Kentucky game. So like, there are games where
Yeah, but I think they could beat Michigan State. Michigan State sucks, dude.
they don't. I have a bet on them already.
All right. Next up, SMU. Another team where it's like you wouldn't think of them as sleeper picks in the ACC, but honestly, the ACC not that strong of a conference, and SMU, the Stangs, they're looking pretty good. So same coaching staff, Rhett Lashley back for his 3rd season. In his 2nd year, they went 11-3. They lost in the Fenway Bowl. They got their star quarterback back, Preston Stone. They also have a backup quarterback that they use a lot named Jennings. That's an athlete. Both of those guys are back, so they bring back both quarterbacks. All of their running backs are back, all of them. Jalen Knighton, I think the other kid's name is LJ Johnson Jr. Those are the main 2, all back. Ready for this? The top 7 wide receivers are back. 7.
Crazy.
The top 7 wide receivers are back. They did lose 3 starters on the offensive line. So finally, we get to an area of this offense that isn't completely loaded coming back. But they brought in 4 pieces through the transfer portal, and 3 of them have starting experience. So maybe the offensive line takes a small step backwards, but really it shouldn't be this bad. It shouldn't be that bad at all. I don't see any reason why SMU's offense isn't a force in the ACC.
Yeah, this is one of the best offenses in the ACC for sure. Quarterback obviously a star. Top rushers, top receivers come back. O-line's actually very highly regarded. All the transfers they got were very high up on the rankings and everything. Phil Steele loved them. I seem to trust everybody that's saying they're 8 or 9 deep. I mean, that's really good for an O-line. So yeah, this offense, I think it would have probably been the best offense in the group of 5 had they not left the group of 5.
Definitely.
So now I think they come in.
Actually, Liberty's pretty loaded too.
I think they're better than Liberty. Like
They might be, yeah.
coming into a conference where we always say like, oh, the defenses in the ACC are good, but the offenses are kind of lackluster. This won't be a lackluster offense.
Yeah,
this
it's
is a
really good.
really good offense.
But now we get to the defense, and by no means is it bad, but it's definitely a little bit more concerning than the offense. The defensive line got completely gutted. I think they lost all 4 starters. Yeah.
All new transfers are going to be starting, all from Power 4 schools. That's good, but it's a question mark, the D-line.
Yeah. And that's especially concerning. Prop Beaver, go to their defensive line graphic from last year. Because we just talk about the SMU offense and our offense that puts up a lot of points, but SMU's defensive line was really good last year. Look at those numbers. I mean, their defensive front 7 won the battle in their entire schedule. Now, granted, they played in the conference they played in. But still, I mean, this defensive front was very good last year, and they lost all 4 starters on the defensive line. Now, like Andy said, the transfers that are coming in and playing are Power 4 guys. So the talent should be there, but it's a completely new unit, and I'm a little concerned with that. So yeah. Anyway, all the linebackers are back though. So okay, they lost the line, but all the linebackers are back, and they actually added 2 linebackers from Utah. Did I read that right?
One of them is a very good. Yeah, one of them is a very good player too. He was very sought after, and a lot of people were surprised he went there. But yeah, that was a huge pickup. The one transfer from Utah. The other one was there probably just going because he fit the system and wanted to follow his friend, I would guess at that point.
Yeah, probably right.
Yeah, that's the linebacking unit will be fantastic.
Yeah. So good news if you're betting on SMU or if you're an SMU fan, you lost all 4 of your defensive linemen, but all the linebackers in the second line and the second unit behind you are looking good. Now they did lose their top 2 corners. Both are gone, but they have 3 safeties that saw a lot of time. All 3 of them are back, and they actually brought in a corner from Texas A&M. So they lost their top 2 corners, probably a little bit of a drop off, but I don't think it'll be anything crazy. It's the defensive line that I'm worried about because it was such an important part of the team last year.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that 100%. They actually, the way that it was read when I read in the article was that their secondary is split. Like they think their safeties are probably top of the conference, but again, they're now gambling on corners being transfers. And the Texas A&M corner, I mean, he comes in and I know you hear the name Texas A&M and you're like, ooh. He was getting burned a lot last year, so when he got a game, so that's not necessarily a great thing. So that's a guy that cornerback position is very much a question mark for this.
Now, when we get to the schedule, this is interesting because there's a couple games on here that are winnable, man. Like, home BYU, home TCU. Those are
two teams that I'm not
exactly, and it's winnable. Like I think theoretically, like BYU should be a program that beats SMU, and TCU should be a program that beats SMU. But if we're being, they could be 4-0.
They will. I think they will be. I think the TCU game will be the biggest battle to that point. Although I don't love the idea of going to Nevada. That might be close late.
No way.
They're gonna win the game, but I think that could be because it's a week 0 game. It's at Nevada. That'll be a weird one. They're going to beat Nevada. But
what's the line on that game?
That's 25.5. Actually, it might be 26.5 now. I was looking at it before.
Jesus.
With the Houston Christian easy, BYU should be an easier one. BYU is not a very good team this year, but TCU has a good quarterback. Hoover's back to sophomore, so that game. I'm
saying they drop BYU or TCU. They drop one.
I don't think they lose to BYU.
No, I think they.
You're asking, do they beat TCU is the question, because I think they do. But I don't think BYU is not really a question. I think they'll be favored by like 10 to 15.
Yeah, they should.
BYU's not good.
Okay, so we'll put them at 4-0 with a possible loss. They lose to Florida State at Louisville. You really like Louisville?
Loss. Yeah, Louisville.
Okay, so that's 2. That's 4-2 at Stanford.
Those next 2 are very easy. Stanford. Yeah. Even I think the travel could mess them up at Stanford, but that'll be fine. I think that's a very winnable game for them. And Duke is also probably the worst team in this conference this year.
Damn. So you get past that Louisville game, and the travel kind of sucks, but as far as the quality opponents, I mean, they could win all 6 of those games. They won't, because that's crazy. They're in Louisville, then they're in Stanford, then they're in Duke. They're flying back and forth across the country.
Sneaky one. I think that Virginia game is the one they drop, actually. Of all of those games, I think that's the one.
No, I don't like the
sandwich
trip
with the Virginia.
I don't like the trip from Stanford to Duke. And Duke's can play defense at home.
No, Duke is awful. Duke
so is Virginia.
Duke lost everyone. Oh no, Virginia's got a little bit of talent coming in.
So what's their win total? 8.5?
Yeah, I got them with 9.
1, 2, 3, 4. I'll have them. They'll drop to Florida State, Louisville. I'm dropping to Duke. That puts them at 9. Oh damn.
I think this is
Boston College at Cal. They could drop one of those home games.
This is one of those teams where if everything goes right, they could find themselves in the ACC championship game.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Because they have such an easy schedule, and
all they have to do is win that Louisville game or the Florida State game.
I think they were a year too.
I'll put them at 9. Let's give me an over.
They were a year too early of coming to the ACC, because this team would be heavily favored to go to the playoff had they stayed in the group of 5.
Yeah. Next team up, and it is Syracuse.
Oh yeah.
All right, so orange time. Dino Baber is fired after 8 seasons at head coach. So we're looking at a new era of Syracuse football. Fran Brown gets the head coaching job. He's from Kirby Smart's staff. He was a DB coach at Georgia. They bring in an NFL guy. I like this coaching staff. I was just talking about it. Jeff Nixon comes in to be the OC. He's an NFL guy. He was with the Giants last year. Spent a few years with the Panthers as well. So they got an NFL guy running the offense. They also got Elijah Robinson coaching the defense. Now, he's been Texas A&M's defensive line guy for like 7 years. And if you're unfamiliar with Texas A&M, they're pumping out an NFL edge rusher every year. Every single year, there's an NFL edge rusher coming out of Texas A&M. So even though, I know what you're going to say. You're going to say these guys are unproven at this level of coaching, which is true. I mean, I don't think any of them have even been coordinators before.
They have, as a staff, the top 3, they have a combined 5 games as a head coach, OC, or DC. And those 5 games were interim head coach for.
So you're hating?
Texas A&M. Not hating. I'm not hating. I just think this team has so much hype, and I've never seen Syracuse get this much hype. And obviously, when they get a guy like Kyle McCord, that's huge. But there's so much hype around this team for a team that's
I don't think there's that much hype.
There's a lot. No, dude.
Where are you seeing this hype? You spend a lot of time on Syracuse Twitter.
If you're looking at lists, this team's toward the top of the ACC in every list. I just don't,
because the ACC isn't good.
A lot of people like it. I think Fran Brown, a guy that's a big. Their secondary will be. I think their defense will be great. Their defense is gonna be. I don't really know if the coaching staff mixed together all so young will be great. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they'll completely surprise and be perfect. But I think when you get down to it and there's close games when they don't have guys that have no experience coaching in these games, I think in close games this team could be taking advantage.
I'm looking at the ACC Football Power Index 2024. Syracuse is 15th out of 17.
The media, no. The fan bases have all said, like, the Syracuse
Who
team.
cares? Let me say. Let's see what Sports Illustrated.
Plus this transfer portal stuff they got. Now, they did have a significant boost of recruiting. If you want to pull up the recruiting numbers.
The hype you're talking about is in your head,
no,
bro.
It's not
no
my
one's
head.
hyping this team up.
There's a lot of hype for Syracuse, and I don't get it.
All right. So anyway, Andy is imagining some hype with the Syracuse team. Anyway, brand new coaching staff. Yes, they're inexperienced, but I don't mind the hires. They're bringing back a ton of production. 16th in returning production, 18 returning starters. So a lot of familiar faces. The problem is this team wasn't very good last year. So a lot of faces that really weren't great last year. Now, obviously, the one everyone's talking about, Kyle McCord, the upgrade at quarterback, the Ohio State kid, who we were actually just talking about earlier. I don't think anyone got a less fair shake than Kyle McCord. I mean, this kid was getting hated on when it's like, he hasn't even been that bad. I mean, I don't think anybody got more unfair hate than Kyle McCord last year.
Yeah, I thought he was a fine quarterback, and obviously he was going to a school that they have one expectation, and it's to win the national championship and beat Michigan. And he did neither of those things, so I guess that's why he got a lot of hate. But he was like getting hate in the middle of the season.
CJ Stroud didn't beat him either.
Oh no, I know. CJ Stroud didn't get any hate because they knew he was going to the NFL. Kyle McCord, nobody had that hype. I think Ohio State fans are freaking weird. I don't know.
Okay, so like maybe Kyle McCord wasn't first overall pick material, but he wasn't bad at all.
That fan base is used to their quarterback coming in and literally being a star right away. Like Stroud was years ago. Haskins
Fields.
was like, yeah, they are used to their quarterbacks being great right away, and he took some lumps early, but he figured it out at the end. And obviously they didn't beat Michigan, but I don't really think it was his fault either. So he had a good season, and I think that was why Syracuse got a lot of hype and because they brought in one of the best transfer quarterbacks in the country. I think he was rumored to go to Rutgers for a long time through the offseason, and then just randomly he was like, all right, I'm going to go to Syracuse. It was a really good pickup.
What's the deal with the rest of the Syracuse offense?
Running backs back with Quinn Allen. If
he's good,
he's a stud. I think he or Ott are the best two running backs. They're easily 1 and 2 in the running back.
I'm wondering what that offense looks like, because it was, when I think of Syracuse offense, I think Schrader pulling the ball and running it. That's like all they used to do.
They were 9th in run frequency, so you were correct. Yeah,
because Schrader used to just, even when they called a pass play, he would just pull it and run it.
Yeah. I think it'll be, I think McCord has a little bit of that in him, though. He could run a little bit.
But he's not Schrader, though. Schrader's like Josh Allen.
Was a guy who could run, yeah. But yeah, running back, LaQuinn Allen's a star. They don't really need anything else other than that. Only one of their top 3 receivers are back, but they brought in multiple transfers from Power 4 schools, so that should make up for that lost production. I don't think that's a problem, but I don't know if they improved there. The O-line got a lot better. 4 Power 4 high regard transfers. These are guys that were ranked in like the top 50 of O-line transfers. So the recruiting was a lot of the reason a lot of people love this staff. I mean, their recruiting was so much better this year than they had been in a long time. So this O-line and this offense overall should be better.
Okay, so improved. I mean, I liked Schrader, but you'd have to say McCord's an upgrade.
Yes.
You say LaQuinn Allen's back at running back, offensive line looks good. So yeah, you'd have to say Syracuse offense talent-wise is improved. It's a matter of, can the coaching staff take them the step forward?
Yeah. That's the big question to me about this team is the coaching staff and how they can handle an offense. Because like you said, Fran Brown's defensive guy. Elijah Robinson was the guy that actually has deep experience in college. He's a defensive guy. So their offense is going to be a question mark, but I think they're improved enough to where that it could actually be a pretty exciting. Now on the other side, I think they're going to be great. Their their D-line's all brand new. They're all transfers, so that could be the question. But other than that, their linebackers and secondary are going to be very strong. The DBs are very experienced. Plus, Fran Brown was a DB coach at Georgia, so he knows secondaries, and I think that'll be great. And the linebackers is easily the best unit on the team overall. So the only question will be, will they be able to stop the run? They weren't really great at that last year. The secondary was fine, and they got better. So I think this team will get run on a little bit, but other than that, they should be fine.
Well, speaking of getting run on, they're starting off against the Bobcats, who I think are going to have a good rushing attack.
Yeah. That's a sneaky
although
game
home
that I think
against
people
Ohio
will
has got to be a win.
It'll
but-
be a win.
But I wouldn't be surprised if the Ohio team total over 14.5.
Yeah, I don't remember what the line was on that game, but I looked at it and I was like, that's a little. I think it was 20. I think they were 20-point favorites.
No
way. Something like that.
20?
Yeah, I think it was around 20. Which
17.
okay, so it went down.
17?
Sneaky pick. There.
What do you that means you can get Ohio Bobcats team total over like 15.5?
Yeah.
They can run the ball.
Yeah, I think
Unproven
they'll run
defensive
all- I think
front.
that's a game where I think like Ohio goes into the half up,
No.
right? Like they go into the half up and then Syracuse figures it out.
All right, so obviously we got to give them a win against Ohio. Georgia Tech.
Week 2, they're going to get ran on all over the place.
I haven't
they
looked
could
at
very
Georgia
well
Tech
lose
yet.
that game.
Is Haynes King-
Jamal Haynes and Haynes King both
Yeah,
back. They're going to run
yeah.
all over Syracuse.
That's probably a loss then.
Stanford will also run all over them, but I think they'll win the
They'll
game.
win that.
Because Stanford's brought
Holy
back
Cross is a
Daniels
win.
and
They Holy Cross lost their coach.
their quarterback.
Oh shit! Yeah, so
Saluka's
3-1.
at, UNLV. Speaking of UNLV, they play them.
Dude,
They'll play Saluka. They'll beat UNLV. Actually, a weird game though.
that's a weird game.
At UNLV, 9:00 on a Friday.
Dude, and
That's
you want to talk
losable.
about a team that can run the ball? UNLV's got 2 backs.
NC State can run the ball too. This is a tough.
Bro,
first-
this is tough.
You wouldn't look at the names and be like, "Ooh, this is a tough schedule." But with the way that they're built, their schedule doesn't start well for them.
On Virginia Tech, probably a loss.
They're gonna get run over there. BC will be a win.
I don't know. At Boston College?
Hey, BC.
At Cal? Cal's
Cal
supposed to
could
be
beat.
good.
Cal should beat them because that's a weird.
I mean,
travel
they'll
game,
beat
too.
UConn. So I see 4
Yeah.
wins on here. 5 if you give them UNLV.
This is an under.
This is an
a
under.
Very heavy under.
Under.
This is almost an alternate under. If you can get them at 6,
Yeah.
like, or 5.5.
I'll put them at 6, but I think they would need to steal one to get 6.
I think they win 5.
I mean, Pittsburgh's probably a win too, though.
Yeah, I mean, going on the road, weekday road game at Pittsburgh. This schedule sucks.
This is like
This
what
is
the
brutal because they're starting off with 3 teams that can run the heck out of the ball, and then they're going to Las Vegas and
3
3 road games in a row. That's
And Pittsburgh. Oh, never mind. No. They're both very rested going into that. But yeah, you got Narduzzi with 12 days to prepare on the
Yeah, I don't
road
like
on a
that at
Thursday.
all.
Like, I don't love
after
that.
NC State, which is a huge. There's that game sandwiched in between NC State, who's one of the premier teams in this conference this year. They're just rated in the AP poll, and then you have drones coming
That's
in.
crazy.
That's a tough schedule.
Yeah,
That's
under
tough.
for me.
Under.
All right. Thanks everyone for watching. We'll be back tomorrow to do another NFL team, 4 or 5 more college football teams. Also, obviously, the MLB